Wow, wow, wow. Here we are. Tridactyls, I've got cinematic music blasting in my ear. Can I take one of these off, maybe? Oh, that's better. I can hear myself. Hello, everyone. Thank you for following the channel. Appreciate everyone's interest in what we do here. There's a lot going on in the universe. Oh, look at that. I got a little bit of imperfection over here. Oh, I'm afraid if I touch it, it happens, you knock everything down. Okay, what is this over there too? Is this a book or something? I don't know. That stuff. I see. It's my own mic cover. Hey, so I promised people today some new steganography from Africa, from the Namoli, which, if I'm not mistaken, are related to the Nomo. Playing with my camera here. Never happy with the setup. You got to have the perfect setup and just don't touch it and leave it alone. It should be like just set in stone. And you can just like walk in there. Oh, I hate when that happens. Sometimes you have to redo the chat sometimes if you don't get the chat. That's cool. I don't wonder how you fix that. Unfortunately, I think if I'm missing a chat, I have to end and start again. So let's see what happens if I end here. And we're going to do it again for those of you that are out there. It's kind of annoying that it makes you pick the same choices every time. So I have to go in and make sure that everyone can chat. And hopefully that's it. Let's try it again. Yeah. Okay, hello again. Those in Twitterland. I think I just started this over, I think. Is that what happened? We want to get the chat working. So who is out there today? So much to talk about. I'd like to pat myself on the back in case you didn't see. I did get a little data boy from Theory. Theory posted my video on the fetus. God, I hate even saying fetus because, it's weird on the TikTok. They're kind of like, I feel like they're either it's the imagery or I think it might be the word fetus. They're not really enjoying the word fetus. And so my videos that say the word fetus in it are not getting a lot of traction, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and share that. We'll start off with that. I'm just going to share this little post here. You know me, I got to give myself credit where credit is due. So he writes, unbelievable. Tridactyl fetuses in the eggs of the reptilian mummy christened Artemis. And there's my link there with all my crazy combination of images. And I guess I didn't think this covered through. I was going for sensationalism using what we found, and I guess that worked. I believe all the things that are in the video, but if you're thinking of it being shared for like scientific purposes, I kind of I missed the mark there. But I guess it works. At least it gets the message out there. It lets people know that I'm trying to connect all this stuff together. So opening up my chat to see if anybody's talking. It's there. Okay. So looks like I can share the chat in different ways. So if you are watching, feel free to drop me a line on the chat. If you're interested and we kind of know each other, you're welcome to come on the show and either share some of your opinions or ask me questions. So what else? That was big news. Of course, let's go ahead and get to the topic at hand, to be honest, because I called this meeting to order so we could talk about the Namoli. So I'm going to share this tab here. So this is from a woman. It looks like she wrote her maybe her dissertation in art or history, perhaps, on this. And it's funny, because looking at modern interpretations of things, recent interpretations compared to what we know now about the Tridactyls. It's funny listening to interpretations because they're not what they think they are. So what can we say about the Nomo or the Namoli going forward? So this is the West African belief system related to the I believe the Dogon, that sort of African belief system in reptilians, creator beings. Many times they're water building beings, and I would love to try to connect these beings, these images of these beings, to a couple of different cultures that probably came east from China and Japan. And I'm talking about these rice field guardian statues. I believe they're predecessors to the Taino Zemi or Semi. And then we have the Namoli. And it's the same concept. These little stone beings are buried in the crops to protect many times your tuber crops. And speaking of tuber, it's really just speculative on my part right now, but I would like to try to connect I believe it's the yams. There's different crops. I'm trying to connect the crops such as yams, which are found in South America, Africa, and Southeast Asia, right? And it's strange that they're all these different subspecies. So what's the greater subspecies? And do these vegetables, these plants go back millions of years? The point is, I believe there's some sort of eastward, westward happening between Africa and the Caribbean. I don't know how to prove it. It could just be similar traits. I don't know, but it's something to look into, and it's fun. So these are very similar, again, to the Taino Semi or Zemis. So, and it's very similar to some of the steganography that we've seen in the Polynesian work. So let's start with this one. She seems to like this one a lot. So we're not going to listen to her talking, but the doctor goes into some of the traits that they're looking for in the Namoli, and it's the big oblong heads, large eyes. But that's a distraction many times in these arts, is these grotesque characters. So let's start with this one's kind of easy-ish. So on the left, you see the figure looking at you. And that's why a lot of these statues, you have to look at them straight on. I think there might be a couple of different things happening here. So while you're looking at that, enjoying the view, also note that these are seated beings. So this is very possibly a seated god motif. Maybe you'd call it the Baal motif. He's typically shown seated from the Semitic gods. So I'm just going to share this one, and just to help some people who may have trouble seeing. So let me share a new screen here with you. I have to look behind my camera to see my view screen. Okay, so I just could use this snipping tool. Hopefully it works out a bit. And that's fine. So here we have a typical Namoli with the big eyes. But really what we're looking at is somewhat oblong face here, showing the real figure. But this particular statue may also demonstrate another motif here. Yeah. This might be the arms and shoulders motif of the head, just like we see in the Indian artifact. In fact, as I'm doing this kind of live with you in a way, because I just saw the video recently, and I'm like, you know what? I saw this woman's video. Let's go ahead, since it's fresh in my mind. This is how it's working. This is how the discoveries are happening through steganography. So what you can see here, this looks like another motif, where this might even be the true figure. Is it a little pareidolia here? It is, but there are still continuous motifs that I'm seeing, and it's these arched eyebrows representing the cordiform arches. That seems to be a standard. The elbows coming out to the side, and we can do that with maybe even a different color just to. So again, we have cordiform arches here, very similar to the actual supraorbital arches. And then we sort of have the temporal bone come over here, coming out the side. Okay, so that's one example, of course. Let's continue. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to share something else, right? We're going to go back to this Dr. Kathy here, her video. She's just showing you a little bit of, make sure I'm sharing everything. I am not. It is not being shared. Always good to check, I realize. I could be talking about something and it's not happening. Yeah, okay, so she's just sharing the region. Again, this is Western Africa. There is other tuber crops. There's banana crops here. And there's been some studies that very well some of these crops could have come from Southeast Asia. And there is a route, a southern route, that could very well have been taken. This is one of the nemoles that we see a lot. It does have a cross-hatching that makes me suggest that this artist who did suggest they were reptilian. It does have the face. You can, once again, the nose is being used to depict the eyes. Very typical steganography here. Not my favorite piece, though, in this regards when looking at these things. So I'm just going to fast forward ahead. Now, this piece is super interesting. Okay, so once again, hopefully you're starting to see what I'm seeing, which again is a motif. It's not just these figures. It's a motif of the schnoz doubling as the eyes. What's interesting about this is we see the cross-hatching of the reptilian skin, which I do believe we are seeing evidence of that in the biologics. So that's cool. And it seems to transfer from the animal to the man. What is that saying? What is that message there? Also, it looks like I think he's got. I think we got Tridactyls, ma'am. That's what she actually talks about the reptilian theory and kind of poo-poos it a little bit. And it's just funny, again, listening to people's description. Again, these are clearly the same type of cultural artifact as the Taino. It's the same concept. It's little stone figures. It's the same as the rice guardians. It's little stone figures that is protecting your crops. So that is some form of cultural diffusion. And that's one of the things that we can critique, as they say. What do they call it? What does Mr. Hancock call it? Establishment archaeology. We can critique them there, and there are still questions. So when you have a confident scholar, we have to look perhaps more so into their theories, and that goes for me too. Okay, so nothing great here. Again, it's that nose and making this sort of eyes, but we're going to move on a little bit more because I know she returns to one of her. Here it is. Okay, so this one, again, you're going to get distracted. You're going to see those eyes, which kind of look like eggs, and it's going to draw you upwards. I'm going to do another screenshot of this one so we can do another little doodle here. Okay, so I'm going to screenshot that, and then I'm going to share that screen with you if I can. And so you got to hit the share twice, it looks like, unfortunately. Okay. So all different ways to share this. So let's, for fun, can we do a different color? No, we can't. All right, so we'll stick with red for this one, I guess. So this, I wish if you could make a comment. What do you guys see? If you have access to any chats, what do you see here? All right. So I see a Nukari or a Suya sort of being. And how can we best depict this? And we'll go back to black. So if we just take off the top part here of this arguably decorative, I wish I could just cut it. Can I do that? Can I erase? I can erase, but erasing only erases my line, so that's no fun. So, well, another way I can do this is just I can outline what I suggest is the Nukari-like head. You can see the serpentine body. So it almost makes me think, I keep seeing these Nukari-type things and artifacts, and is that the true form of the Naga, I wonder? Is there another form out there of a being with perhaps no limbs at all? So again, this is not unusual steganography to hide the figures in such a way. Let's go back to Miss Doctor's video. Okay, thanks for watching along. A lot of cool things happening lately. We also discovered the tridactyl faces in the Pillars of Hathor, where that's the site of the famous so-called light bulb depiction. So that's interesting. Okay, so again, here's that same piece. We've seen a focus on this one. Now, this piece I thought was super interesting. The one on the left, because of the profile. And again, I'm going to do a quick screenshot. So while you're looking at that, we have the seated god, which you may even recognize in one of the specimens. Victoria is seated. And a seated god seems to be a regular motif. Could be where we even got our thrones from. We may have gotten that concept of the one in charge is the seated one. Our concept of crowns may even come from the cranial ridges on our decapitated specimen. So what's cool about this one is that this appears to capture the profile of the Tridactyls. You'll recognize the cordiform head as the face looks to the left. You'll recognize the ridge right here. And of course, on the statue, it looks like it's its nose and its lips, perhaps. And then we have the elongated head. Okay. So let me share that with you just in case I am not. A lot of going back and forth and buttons. I think I've used the system before where you just kind of slide the screen over. And maybe that's actually better because I have to keep hopping back and forth to show you things. It's like, what am I sharing now? Okay, so this was that last picture, and you can see where the cordiform shaped head is as it's a profile looking left. So anyway, these are the Nemoli. I thought it was cool to find another set of artifacts practicing the steganography. And I was just thinking again that in some of this artwork, Indian, oceanic, they sort of distract you with this horrid, wild creature. And then there's things to see within. Let's stop and take a look at this one here. All right, I'm going to share a screen with you on Dr. Kathy. Dr. Kathy's doing some great work here. I should probably drop her a line. I don't know what people are going to say if I drop them a line and say, by the way, your interpretations are wrong, ma'am. You got tridactyls. You got a bad case of the tridactyls. I don't think people are going to take that very kindly. So, you know, and the other thing I'm just having trouble with is just getting the message out there. You know, I don't know how many times I said there was a fetus in the egg, and it didn't seem like anybody was budging. It's a very strange place to be in right now for me. I have weirdo friends who don't believe me. I have people who normally believe me not believing me. And then it's like you would even expect some crowds, Bigfoot crowds, those people think it's nuts. I don't know. It's very tough. It's tough trying to get the message out there is all I'm saying. And trying to stay somewhat sane in a crazy freaking topic. Okay, switching share screens again. Here we go. Sharing another. Got to hit the button twice. Boom. Then I got to hit the window I'm sharing, and then I got to hit it, and then I got to hit the share button. And we're there. So, the one was having a little trouble dealing with this one, but I think we might know the answer if we remember some of the clues that were dropped about Montserrat. Montserrat, who could be Set from Egypt. Yeah, that one. So we know Montserrat is demonstrating possible hermaphroditism, which we predicted, again, based on the Set myth, based on the Loki myths, and even based on Yahweh himself. So we have a being here who appears to be pregnant, but also seems to have possibly a penis. Yeah. But we're not here for that. We are not here for the penis. We are here for the tridactyl-like head up top here. And so again, ignore the upper parts, ignore the fake eyes, just like you would ignore the eyes of Ku in the oceanic art. I'm going to trace along the big jowls, which are the temporal bone on the actual beings. This one might have a little bit of a beard. I know Jack would probably want me to keep the beard in, but I'm going to probably just go around the beard because I'm just worried about the head right here. And there you go, guys. Again, this is, if you're just tuning in, no, this is not pareidolia. My God, please. This is a thematic motif that is found cross-cultural. Because why? We're finding evidence of tridactyls everywhere. Why? Because they're probably the post-deluge tutory beings of myth and legend. Look, man, I don't write this stuff. I'm just telling you what's out there. I couldn't write this. This is a great story. Isn't that awesome? Oh my God. I love that piece because of that. His fat little tridactyl face, pregnant, but it's showing signs of, hermaphroditism, which I think that's wild. Anything else cool in that screen? Well, you can see perhaps the little face and the little Hathor-like ears. What do I mean by that? When you go to the Temple of Hathor, she kind of has these like fin-shaped ears, which kind of look like the hand in the fetus. When was the last time we looked at that? Let's go through the rest of this video, though. I promised you guys tridactyl faces in African art, and this is the Namoli. Aren't they cool? I didn't know if there's really much more I wanted to show you. Probably best to look at these one at a time on your own. We could probably go back and pull some out. Maybe find some other ones, That's the fun thing. Good news, bad news. These artifacts are in private collections and they're in museums all over the world. Really, it could be a great time, I think, to start repatriating stuff. Hey, look at this I just saw on this guy. See? That's why you look at these things. I'm going to show you something even weirder. Maybe you can see it. Look down in the being's hands. It is though that being is actually holding a smaller being. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if you can see my mouse moving on the screen, and maybe that'll clue me in. Yeah, if you can see it or not. I don't think so. But you should be able to see it. I can make it bigger. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, there's my mouse. I see it on the screen. Look at that. There is a little tiny tridactyl head there. That one's kind of realistic looking, if you ask me. It catches the countenance, I call it. Just they have this sort of peaceful face. You can see why the ancients, some people compared them to cats. Their large eyes and their peaceful countenance. Their overall just look. Isn't that fun? See, so that's something I discovered while streaming at this moment. And I think the takeaway there is, to be honest with you, is that anyone could be doing this right now. Sure, I have, I do have a degree in anthropology. I am sort of trying to do my best to be the best xenoanthropologists out there. And I think we are ahead of the curve because we've been doing this research now for 9 months. I say we, it's me. It's me. Those of you that have been with me, though, it's a we process then, right? Yeah, we're ahead of the curve because while other people were waiting to see if these things were real, we were already convinced they were real and off and running. And I think that deserves a couple of reruns, and we need to go back and look at some of our own videos here. Are you ready for that? Let's get another Tridactyl run of the fetus. Yeah. Because that's what we do. We like to, we're like a repeat channel. We just, we're going to show it to you one more time until you get it, right? Let's go. Here we go. I'm so glad this was shared. I was told that it was pareidolia, and I put some work into it to make sure that we could all see together that it wasn't quite pareidolia. Sharing screen. I think I'll turn off this music too. It's good though, right? Okay. Oldie but a goodie. Let's go check out the video. And play. The eggs of the tridactyl specimen known as Artemis. The eggs appear to be in a state of hatching. What one expects to find in the eggs Oh my God, I stopped sharing. And you've just been looking at me. How embarrassing. Thanks for watching. I don't know what happened. The eggs of the tridactyl specimen known as Artemis. The eggs appear to be in a state of hatching. What one expects to find in the eggs of a tridactyl are pig dragons. Pig dragons were made by the Hongshan culture circa 3500 BC, give or take 1,000 years. Oh, is that one there? Let's follow that anomaly, that appendage off of the large mass of egg. There it goes. We have the upper view, looking down. We're looking upwards at its chin. Is that a face of a tridactyl fetus? Is this the face of a pig dragon? Stuff. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at our latest discovery, which was the Pillars of Hathor is what it was. So we thought this was a cool one. We've made a couple videos on this, and what can we say about it? I think I've repeated that this is damning, if you ask me. This is, people are looking for proof, and how many ancient alien videos have we watched over the years of people going to Egypt and we're looking at the pyramids and we're trying to figure things out? Well, I think this is proof right out of something out of what's the artist's name? Mobius, is that the name of the artist that does the sci-fi, or something out of Thundar the Barbarian or something? Because once you see this, well, it's a bit of an ontological shock, I suppose. Here we go. Once you train your eye to see these things, it's like any good optical illusion, and it's sort of it starts to lose its magic. Um, so yes, we are live. We got Mr. Javier here, aka Fat Jesus, asking if we are live. We are. We are. We are. Um, is there something you want to talk about? Do you want me to send you an invite, sir? How are you? So, what are we talking about? Let's also talk about a couple other things. I guess, Dr. Brown, the philosophy professor, is no longer our everyday hero because he keeps bringing up the damn llama skull, don't he? Which I don't know if it's some sort of like devil's advocacy he's trying to do or something, kind of like what Jose did with the paper and submitting it as a llama skull that he felt was untrue. So what else? I don't know. I think I've said enough on the darn skull. They're just not the same. There's a continuous sagittal crest on the llama that Josephine doesn't have, and the llama doesn't have the back bump either. So I don't know. Well, I don't know. I see Fat Jesus might be like getting ready to come on and do live. He's probably just starting. I'm about ready to wrap this up, to be honest. So yeah, he might be a little disappointed. But I think I am going to wrap this up. You're a little late to the party, sir. Thank you all for coming. Thanks for watching the African reveal of the Steganography. I'd really like for more people to start looking for things. Even though I love breaking the news on the discovery. There's artifacts all over the world that need to be have light brought to. I'm going to try to do some spaces this week. If anybody is listening, try to get some regular spaces. Maybe people feel more comfortable talking there, and we can discuss things and talk about maybe even some team building. But thank you, Fat Jesus, for your interest. I am out. That was my big reveal for today. I'm sure there'll be some new discoveries later in the week. Live long and prosper.